Thank you, President Covino, for setting the tone for our day today. And as our panelists come up, we will follow our program, but we're just starting a little late so people can get in and get their seats and get started. But don't worry, we'll still have lunch. So that's a very important thing at the Pat Brown Institute. I do just want to tell you briefly what the day is going to be like and then introduce our moderator for the first panel. Many people think that we came up with the title for this panel in the last 5 days for this program. Actually, this title was in June, designed in June, when we thought it would be about how wild the campaign was, rather than trying to explain a surprising result. So, in a way, it just sort of worked out. I do have to tell you that was not the original title in our internal discussions, which actually had 3 letters. Which I won't tell you what they are, but I just decided to go with a somewhat more moderate title than my original thought. In a time of heat, it never hurts to shed some light, and it doesn't mean the heat is not important and deeply felt and part of every conversation that people are having, but it is our goal today to pursue what the Pat Brown Institute always does in our honored location here at a great university at Cal State LA, is to pursue illumination, dialogue, and discussion about things that really are important and that really are very close to the heart. And that's why we feel that this is a very important time for us. And the program is divided into 2 parts. The first one called What on Earth Happened, which will be a very distinguished panel to talk about a deep dive into the election and the constituencies involved. And the second one, now that California is in many ways potentially an adversarial stance with national political policy, we did change that title, which was originally Where Do We Go From Here, which is kind of a general topic, to Where Does California Go From Here? And the second panel will be much more about public policies and how California's public policies will interact with those. So those will be our 2 panels. And then we will have a very important speech by Secretary of State Alex Padilla, who has let us know that this is really his first public address since the election and has some very important observations to share with us from his position. And as I indicated later on, I'd like to thank many people, and I'll do that in the middle of the day, but right now I want to get directly to our first panel. Our moderator is Seema Mehta of the Los Angeles Times, who will in turn introduce the panel and start the program. She has covered the 2012 and 2008 presidential campaigns, but more importantly, she was on the road for the 2016 presidential campaign. And if you ever get a chance to talk to her at some point, she'll tell you some great stories, and I'm hoping she'll tell you some of them from her direct observations. A graduate of Syracuse University, a native of the East Coast, when she joined the Times in 1998, she would spend a few years on what she called the left coast. Many years, as she says, a husband, a house, and a few cats later, she can't imagine living somewhere she couldn't play golf year-round. In my opinion, that's as good a reason as any to stick with us, and it's a great pleasure to introduce our friend and colleague, Seema Mehta.